Namaskar. Today, 19th December 2022, is the 61st anniversary of Goa's ascension to India. SGT University and Sanrachna Foundation present a short documentary on Goa's ascension to India. Goa is the Indian territory that was ruled by foreigners for the longest period of time. Vasco da Gama, along with many Portuguese travelers, reached India in 1498. Alfonso de Albuquerque, a Portuguese general, invaded and captured Goa with the help of the Vijayanagara Empire. The Portuguese committed many atrocities against the local people of Goa. There were many acts of rebellion in Goa against these atrocities, such as the Kumkali Rebellion, Pinto Rebellion, and Rane Rebellion. But all these rebellions were crushed by the Portuguese government as they were unorganized and local. Hindus and Catholic Christians of Goa, troubled by the Portuguese oppression, drew inspiration from the Indian freedom struggle and began to organize themselves effectively. The anti-colonial movement in Goa developed into two separate parties. The National Congress of Goa used peaceful satyagraha tactics, while the Azad Gomantak Dal used revolutionary methods. Azad Gomantak Dal was founded by Vishwanath Lavande, Narayan Hari Nayak, Dattatreya Deshpande, and Prabhakar Sinari. Mohan Ranade, Balakrishna Bhosle, Bala Mapari were also part of this group. Many revolutionaries were arrested by the Portuguese and sentenced to long jail terms, while some of them were even transported to a jail in the African country of Angola. Vishwanath Lavande and Prabhakar Sinari managed to escape from the prison compound where they were being held and continued to lead the revolutionary movement for a very long time. In 1928, the nationalists of Goa banded together to form the Goa Congress Committee in Mumbai. The president of the Goa Congress Committee was Dr. T.V. Kunha. Dr. T.V. Kunha is considered the father of nationalism in Goa. For almost 2 decades, the independence movement of Goa was considered stagnant. It reached its peak between 1940 and 1960. In 1946, the movement was revived with the arrival of the freedom fighter and prominent socialist leader Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia in Goa. He confronted the Portuguese government for their civil rights abuses. On 18th June 1946, an ailing Ram Manohar Lohia addressed public supporters in a meeting in Goa for the very first time, despite heavy rain. He raised his voice against Portuguese oppression. The Portuguese colonial government arrested him while attempting to control and suppress the protest. He was taken to Margao jail. Mahatma Gandhi wrote an article in Harijan strongly criticizing the repressive tactics of the Portuguese regime and gave a strong statement against Lohia's arrest. This resulted in the Portuguese government releasing Lohia from jail. He was released outside the state of Goa and banned from entering for a period of 5 years. While this may have seemed like a loss, Lohia had already done enough to keep the momentum of the freedom movement going. After India gained independence, the Portuguese were still not ready to leave India despite repeated requests from the then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Defence Minister Krishna Menon. Portugal was a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization (NATO), and Nehru was wary of a military confrontation. In 1953, Tristão de Braganca Cunha formed the Goa Action Committee to coordinate various independence movements in Mumbai. In 1955, some Goan satyagrahis peacefully demonstrated against the Portuguese colonial government. At least 22 of these were shot dead by the Portuguese. In November 1961, tensions began to rise after Portuguese soldiers opened fire on an Indian ship and Goan fishermen, killing one person. Defense Minister Menon and Nehru held an emergency meeting. In the meeting, the government of India decided to send 30,000 soldiers to liberate Goa as part of Operation Vijay. The Indian Navy and the Air Force were also involved in the operation. Major General K.P. Candid was given charge of the 17th Infantry Division and 50th Para Brigade. and Air Vice Marshal Erlich Pinto was responsible for aerial operations. The Indian Air Force at that time had 6 Hunter squadrons and 4 Canberra squadrons. Despite the preparations of the Indian Army, the Portuguese were not affected in any way. The Indian Army started the Goa Liberation Campaign on 2nd December. The Air Force bombarded the Portuguese position with precision on 8th and 9th December. On 17th December, the Indian Army entered Goa and quickly pushed the Portuguese army towards the sea. To stop the advancement of the Indian Army, the Portuguese blew up the connecting bridge near Vasco. But the attacks by the Indian Army and Air Force stunned the Portuguese. The colonial government was overwhelmed by the combination of attacks and growing resentment among the local Goan population. On 19th December 1961, the Portuguese governor Manuel Antonio Vasallo Silva decided to surrender within 36 hours of the Indian military action. Silva signed a certificate of surrender to end Portuguese rule. At that time, Daman-Diu were also part of Goa. India had effectively liberated Goa and Daman-Diu, ending the 451-year-old colonial rule of the Portuguese in India. In this entire struggle, Western countries, especially the United States alongside other member countries of NATO, opposed India, whereas countries of Africa, Asia and Soviet bloc supported India and appreciated Goa's independence. The countries of Africa who were victims of Portuguese oppression encouraged by this campaign of India and went ahead in their struggle against colonialism. Thank you for watching this.